I'm gonna go over some multi-agent stuff, and I'm also gonna go over some of the new agentic bits, which is really cool. So I'm trying to get my screen share up. Everybody might be familiar with the new agentic flows that we've rolled out a couple months ago with multi-agent. So we've added some enhancements to this in the past couple months. One being we can add default filters to each level of configuration. That was a smaller change that is a little less widely known when we're setting filter fields and setting filters on each call. You're able to pass like a default filter value on each call if there's not one provided on the API call, which is convenient. So to expand on like multi-agent a little bit, an agent is a combination of a task, an LLM, and some data, right? So we've got a few custom configurations to kind of give you an example of what this looks like, how we can nest different agents and have like a full flow of what a multi-agent approach would look like. So you see we have some that are answer generation, some of that are more Maestro led, right? So we have Maestro flows that can be called in place of answer generation. So in this case, I can go over to Seek and we can ask something like, what should I wear tomorrow, right? This is not something you can have static data for. Um, that's all right, perfect. I have demos. Basically, this will reach out to the weather API that we have configured, and it looks like that API is down. But we'll respond with live data and tell you, an LLM summary of like, hey, what does the weather look like? And, what should I wear? Maybe I should wear several coats tomorrow because it's in the single digits and negatives here where I am. Definitely fun. So that's all fun and games, but this is a little limited when it comes to agents. You really only get, a choice of one agent or answer generation. So what we've rolled out to help with that is our agent registries and agent-based approach. So not only can you have multiple agents, used to be called templates, but now we also let you select different agents. So for example, here, I want to get the current weather recap and tell me what I should wear. We're going to select these tasks from the weather agent registry and then loop over all of the selected agents. Then call each agent in a loop. So effectively, we're able to ask the LLM or ask the agent, what steps should I take to accomplish this task? And of course, this is all nestable. So you can get some really complex flows put together by nesting and planning agents all the way down. So what that kind of looks like is we're able to save a template or an agent. So example, I have a weather run template here, and then I have two templates that one should give me the weather generation recap, and then the advise what to wear should take that recap and give me advice on what to wear from there. So once we've created a couple agents, we can come in, create a registry, offer a description, and then attach agents to that registry so that we're able to pick from a repository when we're planning. You can also use that in isolation by just asking for a specific agent. You don't have to do an agent plan. You can also just select a single agent. If we select that, then it gives me the flow, advise what to wear, right? Then we can use that agent in the next step. Um, use agent. and then we'll be able to kick that flow off. So effectively, we're now able to do not just simple tasks or one agent, one template flow on a call from our routing in the multi-agent editor. We're now able to kick off, a Rule Goldberg machine of tasks to be accomplished or select tasks that should be accomplished dynamically. So it offers a lot more flexibility for those who are willing to build, offers a low code alternative to some other agentic platforms and approaches. Some other cool stuff that we've added to Maestro this month. We've added the ability to write to files. So previously you'd have to generate things and then review the output, download it. So now we actually just write the files directly to the browser storage and let you download them. There's an example in here of like a PowerPoint file. Uh, Generate a PowerPoint. Obviously, the format for PowerPoint is a little in depth, but it you can see we generated a PowerPoint file over here that I'm then able to download and display. And here we go. Page two, bar charts, all that good stuff. You can use LLMs to assist you in generating this kind of content, right? We'll close that. All that's available for like Word docs, PDFs, PowerPoint, text, CSV, all that good stuff. Some other cool stuff. We released sandboxes. So, popular demand is sometimes you'll find odds and ends that you can't do in Maestro. So we allow you to inject code directly into the template and run it in a sandbox. So you're able to run arbitrary JavaScript or Python code as needed, and then print the output, use that output. I think we have an example of these. Yep. So effectively being able to use the LLM to generate dynamic code and run that in our sandbox safely, it's, really unlimits the possibilities. Despite all the abilities we have, still offers some flexibility. Yep. And then we can take that down. You can see that we generated some code. The LLM tells us about it, tells us what the code is going to do. We don't want any of that, so we cleanse it with our extract code function, set it to a variable, and then we're able to run that in the Python sandbox and see our output presented to the user. Um, from there, I believe I believe that's it. That's oh no, we got local cache stuff. Yeah, I almost forgot about this. So, um, we've got new phonetic cache and local cache. So this can write and cache in between runs. So I don't have a perfect example written for you guys, but you can kind of get the idea of run to run. We let you write things to a cache and then read from that cache later on. So like here we've got an example statement. We can add, remove, delete keys, offer a lot of flexibility here. And then we can read from that cache later on and then optionally delete it, right? So we can actually run this and see what happens. From a different template, we could delete the write cache and just read from that cache. This really helps with flows coming from a chat bot, maybe that would originally need you to store data in the calling flow. For example, we have insurance information gathering agent that takes down incident details or possibly multi-turn description of a order return or a job order that we need to generate a quote for. Maybe we want to prompt the user in a loop and ask for some details. We can read and write that to a cache instead of having to store all of that data in the chatbot and pass it back and forth. You're given the option to store that here instead. Also gives you a phonetic search cache, read and write, so we can, compare similar values based on the phonetics. I think that's really our highlights for this month. Maybe we can open it up to Q&A. If the team have anything they wanted to talk about?
I see a comment in there. Jordan, would you go ahead and unmute yourself and read your comment?
Sure.
Yeah.
Um, for the code sandboxes, are you able to output only the cleansed code and not particularly run it if I wanted to generate an example script for maybe a documentation purposes?
No, so the sandboxes are somewhat limited because you are running code on our server now. So this can be saved and called from anywhere. So we can generate it and run it. So in this case, we ask the LLM to generate a function to determine the first 10 decimals of pi and return the result. So we strip that non-code from the LLM, and then we're actually running that code that gets provided.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a follow-up question, but more towards the agent registry. If I have a use case where I want to import or upload a LinkedIn profile, kind of scan some of the details on that and write a marketing email for it, and then be able to add a connector to send out those emails. Instead of building one long agent, I guess with the idea of the agent registry, I would build separate flows for each step and kind of build up that registry instead.
Yeah. Yeah, the agent planner is, you might argue that, if I have three functions and they all are meant to be ran in parallel, why would I use the agent planner to do this instead? And the reason is allowing the user to direct the flow. So maybe there's optional steps, maybe there's more functions in the registry than one task could need. So maybe like for like order status, maybe there's I want to check my order status, but I also separately want to check my shipping status, or I want to start a return, or there's multiple other things that I might want to be able to do within this platform. So you use the agent planner to say, well, this is what the user asked for. Give me the 1, 2, 5, 8 agents that I need to run in sequence to get the result for the user. And as you can see here, I was running that. So Claude gave us back a description. Here's the JavaScript function. Then we cleanse that output to extract just the code. And then we actually run that code in our JavaScript sandbox and console log out the example.
One more question. I know on the generate data tab, there's a few, I'm not sure how new they are, but write PowerPoint, write Word doc, those kind of eliminate the need to prompt the LLM to output in PDF format. Instead, I can just use a node.
See, so we can, I didn't give it a file name. So we can ask the LLM to generate in a certain file type and output that as a doc file or docx file, right? Maybe it's docx that I needed. So it looks like we wrote to a file. Maybe it just didn't refresh in my browser here. Nope. So yeah, I'll take a look at that. But we have the example PowerPoint flow. Realistically, it should write us a file. Yep, right there. So you see we have a PDF document now, and we'll evaluate what that PDF document looks like. Yeah, it wants to yeah, we can see, it's right, it's taking the file. We're taking the output from the LLM, writing it to a PDF file, and then we're injecting that in the output. We're displaying the contents of that file. So I'm confusing it with the PDF output. Here's a poem, write me a poem, and then put it into a document that I can download. And here's our output. Does that answer the question, Jordan? Sorry.
Yes, it does.
Great.
RJ, I'm just looking at the ability to download. Is that a PDF that you were downloaded right there on the test of PDFs?
Yep. And it writes it to the server so other people in this instance can download this. It stores it temporarily.
Okay.
RJ, I know we've gone over some new features and that are mentioned in the changelog, but would you mind just showing some of the new example templates that are available too, just in case they're not highlighted within our changelog?
Yeah, so there's a few. Haven't explored all of these myself, but happy to take a look at them. So I know that there's another one with Brave Search. So it's a different one versus the DuckDuckGo search, right? This was just a slightly different example. Okay, yeah, so we didn't get any data from that. It's just another example of integration. We're gonna prompt for some results and output that as search results. Okay, yeah, maybe their server's overloaded right now, but just another example of virtual KP, right? A little bit more simple than the original example. There's a lot of nodes here, and we output in JSON. The Brave search one is just a much simpler example of like you can grab any data source, set it out to a variable, and then we output that as the data, right? So this is the search variable. This is this search data being passed to the output, and then we're just assigning an arbitrary score to this. You can make this a little bit more complex by like parsing out the URL from your integration, the document names, and things of that nature, or we can pass like a JSON array of values. What else do we have? What else is new? There's a discovery file, an example how to write to classic discovery. There's a couple examples of like phonetic cache searching. So we have phonetic cache and local cache searches. a couple for the new sandbox, like JavaScript and Python. They're pretty much the same. An example of how to generate PowerPoint files. That's the one I just ran through. Let's oops, let's take a look at the example PDF. Yep, so I don't have the original files for this, but um, basically asking to generate HTML tables to create an analyze a bill. Yep, and then we just extract code from that to get the HTML. Let's see what happens with a poem instead of a bill. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Let's play with this a little bit. There we go. You can see if I had another file for the bill analysis, it would give us an HTML table. You can see this is the prettified output, but we're actually generating some HTML to output it in a little bit prettier form. Then we extract the given code, the given HTML. Um, then we've got a name check. This one is PII. So this one we've had PII for a long time. Basically just determining what the PII is, and then we're outputting the PII that's found. So let's see. Yep, and then we output name, saying our condition is true. That's pretty much it. Just a way that we can identify and cleanse PII from user input. That's really it though. Not a ton of new templates this month.
All right, we are about 5 minutes until the 30-minute mark. Is there anything else or other questions that we have from the whole team? Just a reminder, Jordan, I am going to ping it back over to you. If you'll just show us documentation one more time before we excuse everyone.
All right, so I am at documentation.neuralseek.com. I did link it in the chat as well. And like I said before at the beginning, if you might have joined a little bit later, we've done a bit of reformatting for our documentation, making it easier to navigate as a user getting familiar with NeuralSeek. And you can see that the sidebar here matches the UI of NeuralSeek from home all the way down to governance. We still have our original information, a few different guides and walkthroughs split up by function. More about NeuralSeek is where you can find that change log, as well as any NeuralSeek available plans, our data security and privacy policy. But the change log is where we are displaying some of the new features for that month. So as you can see, we've gone over the new agent registry that agents in my are now templates that used to be in Maestro are now considered agents, and we're bringing that multi-agent functionality to Maestro. Sandboxes with the JavaScript and Python code, local cache, and then the phonetic search for local cache as well. But if you want a bit more of a deep dive on some of these new features, we can just head over to the corresponding feature tab that they're located under. So Agent Registry will navigate to Maestro. And this tab gives us a good overview of what it is, why it's important, and how it's working for us. But then when I navigate under features and our NTL functions is where I can find that similar list of all of our Maestro functionality in these different nodes. So if I need a little bit more information on exactly what the variables are for that agent registry and a few different use cases, I can come and click into agent registry and then drop down these example use case boxes. So we can kind of see how I can use an agent, what variable is given to us, and what kind of content I need to put in a few different examples. We're always updating our documentation along with these new features that are updated and released. We can come down and see our sandbox. We have some information about the parameters that the Python and JavaScript sandboxes take, what that returns, and then some example usage for those as well. Again, we are always updating our documentation as well as our YouTube page for, I can pull up YouTube Cerebral Blue. If you're learning a bit more about Maestro, I'm sure you've come and seen our YouTube playlist on our Maestro video and templates. So we are working to update these as well for a follow along experience as you're walking through. But if you don't see one that correlates to a new feature, it just might be in our backlog, but you can come back to our documentation and we do try to provide some good follow along examples for you there. And so those are just a few of our NTL functions. Another addition to our documentation is under a majority of the tabs, we also feature some guides. So these are very similar to those YouTube videos where we provide a list of guides related to that feature. And these are definitely more in a step-by-step walkthrough format. So virtual knowledge base is a big one. I know we have a new example template on virtual knowledge base that RJ highlighted for us, but it does give us a bit of a more of a walkthrough experience. So we're understanding how to find that example template, how to walk through each of the nodes, as well as the provided NTL, and then what I can do to enhance my experience with it there. All of these guides and walkthroughs, instead of having to navigate under each tab and then search through the guides, if you just want a quick and easy location to find these guides, we do have them separated out in their own tab as well, guides and walkthroughs. So we have a few under data, integration, and models as well, just for your ease of convenience.
Thank you, Jordan. I appreciate you going and highlighting all of the different resources that we have, as well as everyone for joining us today. If you have any questions, please let our team know. And other than that, everyone enjoy your afternoon.